Thank you, Senator Lugar. At the outset, I'd like to say that I would appreciate the kind of briefing that Senator Kerry alluded to. I would appreciate hearing from him regarding his trip. I think it would be very helpful. And thank you, General Jones, both for your service to this country and for your testimony here in front of this hearing. Pakistan's influence on the fight against terrorism, its role in the region generally, its nuclear weapons capabilities, and various other factors make it an important and a volatile factor in U.S. national security. I've gone on record to request that the administration provide us with additional witnesses and information as we hold the series of hearings on Afghanistan and Pakistan. I realized that a few months ago you retired as President Obama's national security advisor, but I appreciate your deep insights into the situation in Pakistan. I desperately want to believe that the Pakistani government is genuine in its desire to be an ally of the United States. That it seems that within that government, we don't know what we don't know about Pakistan's commitment to fighting terrorism and fully engaging as our ally. It seems somewhat implausible that nobody within the Pakistani government knew anything about bin Laden's presence within its borders. But with all that in mind, Pakistan is certainly among the world's leading recipients in U.S. aid. Specifically, by the end of 2010, fiscal year 2010, over the last decade, it had obtained about $20.7 billion. And I want to be clear about how I calculate that number. That includes both overt assistance and military reimbursements between 2001 and the end of fiscal year 2010. I wanted to know, is that aid performance-based in any way? Is it tied to any performance-based conditions?
Well, the Kerry-Lugar Berman package did have performance metrics in relation to the disbursement of monies, as Senator Lugar alluded to earlier. So yes, I think there are some aspects of it that is performance-based.
In what ways do you think Pakistan has used that aid to do things that have enhanced U.S. national security?
Well, we've had a steady working relationship with and dialogue with both the civilian and military side of their government. We have benefited from intelligence exchanges that has enabled them to make some arrests of people in their country. That has enabled us to pull off some operational successes that were in our national interest.
And those, I assume, are arrests and other operations that would not have occurred without that aid.
Exactly. We have been able to form a military outposts in different parts of the border between Afghanistan and Pakistan, where high technology surveillance and real-time intelligence can be derived with both Afghans, Pakistanis, and U.S. Sitting side by side. That would be another illustration of productive use of our aid. And we've tried to help them with some of their logistical problems in supporting the Army with some mobility assets that help them be able to move their troops around as they need to. But so those kinds of things, I think, have been positive.
Let me ask you a hypothetical question. What would be the effect of temporarily withholding additional aid to Pakistan. I want to emphasize the hypothetical nature of this question. I'm not necessarily proposing this, but for purposes of our discussion, I'd like to know what the consequence would be. For example, could the administration put a 30 to 60-day hold on further aid to Pakistan while we sort out Pakistan's commitment to U.S. national security interests?
I'm not sure that it would be, I don't think anything positive would come as a result of that. That may happen, I suppose, as a consequence, but I would think that before we decide what to do in the immediate future, rather than take a decision like that would have, pretty clear consequences in terms of bilateral reaction, that it would be better to go through the process that I think we're going to go through of trying to see where this relation is and what it is that needs to be adjusted in order to better communicate the long-term potential that exists here for the benefit, for our benefit and for the benefit of Pakistan. So I would counsel against what might be a very tempting thing to do, but it might have long-term consequences that we would then have to deal with.
On a different note, Chinese investment in Pakistan has become something of a recurring theme in our discussions in this area. As you know, China is apparently planning to build 2 new civilian nuclear reactors in Pakistan. Does this kind of investment by China in Pakistan trouble you from a national security standpoint?
I think that the growing bilateral relationship that we have with China and other countries can be put to good use in terms of helping countries like Pakistan and other countries, and I believe that it's a characteristic of our 21st century that we will have to do more along those lines of working with the wealthier nations to help the developing nations transition to better economies, better governments, more adherence to rule of law, and a security package, security assistance where that's required. So I think that flows with the nature of our new world, so to speak, our 21st century world. And I think that if China continues to demonstrate that it is in fact more with us in these types of issues, then I think that's a good thing.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman.